Before diving into this week's edition, I want to take a moment and thank the numerous readers who have sent me personal messages and commented on my LinkedIn post with the words of encouragement and empathy on my dad's and my dog's passing. I know it's a long process, and I'm feeling really lucky for such a special community supporting me. Now, back to our privacy fun. During a LinkedIn Live last week on privacy program management, an interesting question popped up that I hear all the time from companies. Do we need a separate privacy program for every state we operate in? The short answer is no, but the longer answer is worth talking through because the way most companies approach multi-state privacy compliance is either overly complicated or dangerously oversimplified, and neither one serves them well. Let me start with where we are right now because the landscape has shifted dramatically and quickly. And before diving in, take 60 seconds and answer these 5 questions honestly. Number 1, do you know which states currently require your company to comply with a privacy law? Number 2, do you know which state has the strictest requirements that apply to your business? Number 3, is your program built to the strictest requirements across those states, not just the ones where you first launched? Number 4, has someone reviewed your program in the last 6 months for new or amended laws? Number 5, is there one named person accountable for keeping your privacy program current? If you answered no to a question, this newsletter is for you. If you answered yes to all 5, you're a rock star. And I think you should keep reading, as I think you'll still glean a few helpful nuggets. The patchwork that is happening in privacy is real and it's growing. In 2018, California became the first U.S. state to pass a comprehensive consumer privacy law. For a few years, it was the only one. Then Virginia and Colorado joined in 21, then Utah and Connecticut in 22. And as of today, there are 20 states with signed comprehensive privacy laws on the books, with Oklahoma making number 20, signed in late March, and more working their way through state legislators right now. And then, of course, we have amendments to consider, like my childhood state of Connecticut, which has made multiple amendments. And for a full 2025 recap of amendments, I encourage you to check out the IPP article that summarizes all of them. Think about that trajectory. It took 3 years to go from one state law to 5. It took less than 2 more years to reach 19. And while Congress has debated a federal privacy law for years, nothing comprehensive has passed. That means companies operating across state lines are navigating a growing patchwork of requirements that are similar in many ways, but different in the details that matter. If your organization does business in multiple states, and most do, this is your reality. The question is not whether to pay attention to it. The question is how to build a program that handles it without creating a compliance nightmare. I think privacy is like HR and tax. So here's an analogy that tends to make this click immediately. Think about how your company manages employment law compliance. Federal law sets a baseline, state laws layer on top, with different wage requirements, leave policies, workplace safety rules, and more. Some cities even have their own local ordinances on top of that, and the details vary everywhere. Does your HR team build a completely separate process for every state? No, they build one HR function, one set of processes, one system, and they build it to handle the variations. They know which states have stricter rules, they track changes in the law, and they make sure their processes meet the highest applicable standard. The function is unified. The knowledge of nuance lives within it. Tax works the same way. Federal returns, state returns, sometimes local returns, all with different rules, different rates, different deadlines. Your finance team does not build 12 separate tax departments. They build one function with the expertise and tools to handle the complexity. Privacy compliance works exactly the same way. You do not need 20 different programs. You need one well-built program designed to handle variations across state lines. You should also build to the highest standard, and then you're covered everywhere. This is the strategic insight that changes how companies approach multi-state compliance. If you build your privacy program to meet the strictest applicable requirements, you will meet every other state's requirements by default. State privacy laws share a common core. Most give consumers similar rights, including, but not all, the right to know what data you have on them, the right to correct it, the right to delete it, and the right to opt out of certain uses. Most require privacy notices, data processing agreements with vendors, and some form of risk review for higher risk activities. The framework is largely consistent, and where they differ is in the details. Here's what that actually looks like in practice. Consumer request response timelines. Some states give you 45 days to respond to a consumer data request. Others allow 60 or 90 days. You'll need to build a program that works best operationally and is compliant. Most of the companies we're working with would pick the strictest standard. So here it would be that all requests in the US are 45 days. Remember, globally, it's often 30 days, which throws an entire new challenge into the mix. When it comes to sensitive data definitions, most states define certain categories of data as sensitive, and some require additional protections or opt-in consent before collecting or using them. But the lists are not identical. Some states include precise geolocation, some include financial data, some include union membership or immigration status. Building to the broadest combined definition means you are covered regardless of which state your customer lives in. Here are some of the common sensitive data fields, and this is an area you don't want to risk. Some of the categories of sensitive personal data are health and body, identity and beliefs, financial and legal, location and movement, children's data, and work and associations. The coverage thresholds also differ. Some states apply their privacy law to any company that processes data on as few as 35,000 residents per year. Others set the bar at 100,000. If you sized your program to one state's threshold and have since grown, you may now be subject to laws you are not accounting for. The practical approach is to map the requirements across the states where you operate, identify the strictest standard in each area, and build to that. Yes, this means your program may do more than any single state technically requires. And that's the point. Where to start depends on where you are. Not every organization is starting from the same place. If you haven't done a full gap analysis against each applicable law, I recommend starting there. If you have a program in flight and are struggling to keep up with the fast-paced changes, pick the riskiest area of the company and stay focused on those changes in privacy laws. Work with the business and operations to determine if state by state or the strictest requirements is best. Here are some specific ways on how to get started on keeping up with the information and how to balance it all. Number 1, assign one owner. Someone needs to have law change monitoring as an explicit part of their job. Not everyone keeps an eye out. One person, one responsibility, one point of accountability. Number 2, use the right resources. The IAPP maintains a state privacy law tracker that is widely used and frequently updated. Reputable law firms publish regular legislative updates. We also have oodles of resources on our site, and be sure to follow us on LinkedIn for the latest. Number 3, build a review cadence. Twice a year at minimum. Have any new laws passed? Have existing laws been amended? Has your business changed? It does not have to be a long meeting. It has to be a consistent one. Step 4, keep a living tracker. Whatever kind works for you. A memo, spreadsheet, software tool, where is it documented and what laws your company needs to comply with? The tracker becomes your source of truth for what your program actually needs to do. Now you'll have one program that's built to last. The companies that handle multi-state privacy compliance well are not the ones with the biggest legal teams or most sophisticated technology. They are the ones who made a deliberate decision to build a unified, scalable program rather than a patchwork of reactive fixes. One program, built to the highest standard, with someone owning law change monitoring and a regular review cadence to make sure it still fits. Go back to those 5 questions that I started with. If any of them have surfaced a gap, that is your starting point. Pick the one that feels most urgent and do something about it this week, even if it's just putting a 30-minute review on the calendar. Small, consistent steps are how good privacy programs get built, and they are a lot less painful than scrambling after the fact. And I leave you with, what is that one step you can take this week?